This is Me, I Am Mental, the podcast. A quick disclaimer. The content you find here is neither intended to be therapy or diagnosis. It is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only.
What does technology, with the advent of all this DIY stuff, how does it play into all this?
Hey, by the way, come to talk about technology. Wow. Come the world of AI.
Yes.
Amongst the best creative people I've ever come across were copywriters.
Yes.
You know, they were copywriters.
Who are
yes.
We need to keep.
Yeah.
Who are copywriters? What do they do?
So, on the line of art directors, there is copywriters. So, art director is the guy who will be given a chance to come up with multiple designs of how to approach a campaign or a creative approach to announce something. If it's back to school for butter, a guy will be given a chance. Say, so what's the client trying to achieve? So it's back to school for butter. Okay, so what's the shoes they're looking at? They're trying to get these taffy shoes to be more seen. So 3 guys are told, come up with concepts. Let's choose the one that you like. Copywriter is told, hey, come up with the words, the language,
the cleverest, the catchiest.
And you'll find that the art directors are waiting for the catchy word to come out, so that they make the creative to match with that.
I see. Yes.
Because if you make the creative and then start looking for the words, it doesn't go. It doesn't match up.
Yes.
You'll
so
find
it's like a slogan. You need like a slogan, and then everything is
Papa fufunika na, bambazuka na, those. It used to be that then, but then it was, and I think it's because of how Kenyans perceive art. I mean, and also art campaigns and adverts. It was. Sportsman, Sawa Hassan, number 1, Kanda, we are that. If you speak with Andrew White, he says if you put any advert or song in Kenya, you got it. So Nico like copywriters are the guys. They were the guys who lead the choir. Orchestrate that creative and bring it out. Yeah. Hair glow. You remember it used to be the words. The words is what stuck with us. What was it? The Royco, what was it?
Choosy
mix. So it used to be what was it? Take off my clothes. It used to be the jingle, the songs, the words tied. I've always tied the Kenya fabric of how they perceive art.
Okay, yeah.
And creative copywriters were literally heavily talented people. But then again, there was so much pressure. You could see it in them. A friend of mine, I won't mention her name. She's currently going through some, I don't know if she's finished, but she used to be having mental, you should find excursions, go to therapy sessions for long, like off, when you're taking leave for you to relax, how she's taking leave to go for therapy.
Decompress.
Yeah, decompress, talk to somebody.
Like literally with someone holding her.
Yeah, because your work is constantly being bashed. It's being turned down. There's being creative with words is even harder than creative with just, drawing stuff. Because drawing stuff, either way, it's just creative. It's only that it might not be that good. Even doodles are creative, But here you have somebody who has to use words to make you feel like that is really creative. So it's like a baby face having to write lyrics and those catchy phrases, those catchy words that stick in your mind, but on the run.
Wow.
So there's a constant reminder that you're not that good.
Wow.
every day you wake up and you go to the office as a copywriter for hard use. And multiple other guys, I felt the pressure on them. Because here is an art director who's chewed his pencil up to halfway, trying to wait for this person to... How about no, okay. How about, and it'll be like, and I don't know to date any copywriter who I can say I feel they've been successful in their career. Not in terms of the work they did was not really good. Most of them are brilliant. I can't even say there's any copywriter I've ever met who's not a creative.
But in terms of them then becoming materially successful?
Yeah. Life.
Whether it then translates into a good life.
Yes. I don't think I've ever been able to say I've seen one who's been able to achieve more out of life.
Wow, that's sad.
Because you get in that creative space, you have to like live it. It becomes you. It becomes you. You're the person who's always chasing for the next thing that allows me to exercise my creativity. So I'll end up probably doing plays and everything. And maybe I have a different way of how I perceive success, right? Maybe they feel, fika.
Yeah.
Forget. But wow, that was tough on them. That was really tough. And we didn't make it easy, even when I ended up being a creative director.
Yeah. So you were trying to link that with AI.
Yeah. So AI comes now, and I cannot even imagine how it felt then. I think now, because there's the adaptation of how to work with AI. AI is just a tool. People get it the wrong way. It's not a servant. It's not a creative person. It doesn't know what to do unless you tell it what to do. It's just a tool. I mean, if we were scared about Word for the people who are doing typesetting, when it came out, you would be an idiot, because Word came with autocorrect and everything. So there are those ones who felt irrelevant. Hey, what did me pick up? How am I ever going to make a living? I used to make a living by, what do you call it? There used to be names for that. One sentence, it was this much, Here comes AI, and AI, I saw on the forums, even right now, photographers who are still part of the agency, who have realized that, wow, Safaricom now can spend just a quick few inquiries on AI and generate billboard money. So how am I going to get my next money? But then there's so many things AI can do. Weddings, for example. Cover events. AI won't do that. They're still the same guys who are needed there. AI serves, even if I'm a photographer, it doesn't, and have my my cameras and everything. If I know how to nurture my skill, because it's my talent that actually brings out that communicative, I'll be the one to trigger. The guy who did whatever he did, especially now with the campaign, if you have seen the Safaricom campaigns, I'm 100% sure he had the photography eye. It wasn't just a random marketing director who just said, wait, these creatives, I'm not, check out this for my budget. I'm not paying any photographers. They wanted to do something that showed that they're also trying to be futuristic, And yeah.
So in some ways, I see AI as, on the one hand, one of the challenges it poses for many people in all industries, but maybe more so in like the creative spaces, is that it introduces even more instability. You have to be even more ahead of
you have to adapt to new technology. Again, more pressure.
More pressure.
So,
yeah.
Charles, this is an environment. You're not a bank hall clerk. I'm sure they also have their own pressures. Maybe we're not aware, but I'm talking about from the experience that I've had with the agency world. So here you have pressure starting from the client side, coming to your account manager. And I'm looking at maybe even that person just in between the art director or the creative director. There's pressure from above. You're not meeting. Your HR is constantly trying to figure out how they can have a chat with you. And you're always dodging because you don't know if that chat is still hey, wait, boss. You need to bail. You see her in the office drink ups, you're like, damn, there she is. Oh, there he is. No, I have some work on my desk, you know. There's always that pressure. And then it's never, it's an environment that always keeps reminding you that what you think you're really good at. And to date, I think I also talk with my wife a lot and I explain to her that I feel when somebody says, I'm a really good lawyer, you know, they've seen themselves getting to that point where they have completed a task that allows them to be saying that, you know, this is a process. If it's in the secretarial services, for example, I do this. This is what I'm really good at.
It's measurable.
Measurable.
Yes. These are criteria.
Exactly.
These are the standards.
Exactly.
Yes.
That does not exist. And if somebody was to figure out how to put that into place, it would be absolutely amazing. You wake
when
up,
you say it does not exist, can you, because I think how I understand that to be is, firstly, every brief is different.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly,
exactly,
everything you do depends on the taste of the recipient.
And it's not constant.
It's not constant.
Yes.
So it's up to them to tell you, yeah, I like the fact that you use color yellow.
Yeah.
That's subjective.
Yes.
Someone else would be like...
And it's multiple people.
Oh, yeah. So okay.
There's your internal people and there's external people. Because just because you finished this poster and your immediate CD creative director likes it, does not mean the accounts manager will like it, does not mean the client will like it, does not mean the boss for your client, that's the marketing person, their people internally will like it. So you could end up finding yourself having to repeat the same whole project again.
And still there are no parameters.
No parameters. Just being told, we just didn't feel it. I'll give you an example. We did this fantastic ad, and it was an ad. I won't mention the client's name. It took us 3 months first to prepare. It was a shoot. And the days for the shoot, you know, we've done the recce, we've done the mood boards. You have gone to the point of where you draw the scenes of the ad. And then now you go to the ground and recce to look for scenes that match what you are doodling, right? The comics. And then you do a recce, you capture the moments, all that, and you bring it to the client, they tick, right? Now you get the equipment, set the dates, get the models, you go through a rigorous process looking for the models who fit that creative you did 3 months ago, right? You have every copy, people matching it up. And if you're smart enough, you don't make the actors try to say so much. Because mutashinda. You try to make sure everything, and then you have a guy who's doing the VO, doing it in studio, client listens, everything. Then now you start doing the shoot.
Sorry, what is VO?
The voiceover.
Yes, sorry. I just want to
I'm sorry, guys. Yeah. So we come the day of the shoot, we do our shoot, do a couple of runs and everything. Left with the content. Now it's studio nights. Studio nights, you wake up there, you go back there after showering and freshening up. Phoebe knows everything about this. You just need like a change of clothes, like coffee,
yes.
Go to the studio, listen through, have all manner of grilled, deep fried food, all the, yeah. So you're staying that scene until you actually come out with something. Then comes the day of presenting it to client, who has been very privy of all the workings. So we sat down, dim the lights, play the ad, the first run.
You're expecting.
So yeah,
Everybody
it's a very tense moment.
It is
very tense. Everybody is like, this could go either way.
Oh, okay.
And there's a lot of investment just gone into it, and that investment could make even the client go like, you guys wasted a lot of our money and time, and the pressure of what we need to do with this. They'll easily walk away with that, and that's a good case to actually close the account, terminate it. And nobody in the agency wants to remain with a creative director who lost an account based on a creative output.
Wow.
Because it's like remaining with a mistake as an agency. So you're there, nerve-wrecked, totally. You have not slept for a couple of days. Final product, you have watched it so many times, you know word by word, scene by scene, anything. You have tried to correct everything that you could think of. Then this room, that process is actually a critic process. So they come in, and then I remember this client watched it. So it was one scene of which was because of some urgency. The lady had to jump out of the car where she was going to a wedding so that she can go pay for something, because she remembers like, I have to do this. So taking out a normal scenario where it's a wedding day, everything else waits, everything else stops. But this time it's like, oh no, I have to go immediately right now. I have to go right now and do this, stop my wedding. But then the client was like, this is really nice, everything, I like everything, but I have one problem. And I'm like, if I'm going to a wedding and I'm running out, I will not run with my heels. I'll run with my flat shoes. Is there a way we can do flat shoes for her? Like, oh my God. Do you know this shoot we did it like about... We don't even know where that chick is. We don't know where that chick is. And she's flown in from wherever she was coming from. And this is something she's requesting if we can do. Now, your first instant is, see, those are effects. We can just chomoa her and put on. That only happens when you're wearing green screens, like that green screen. It doesn't happen in normal scenarios. And again, we're not CGI experts in India. Plus, we don't have those budgets. Here we are guys who have done all this work. We feel like you have completed the brief, because we got approval for everything before. And now we're being told the ad might not fly because of heels. All those nights.
How did you handle it?
Now is when you just try to, everybody's holding you down. Everybody's like, you are about to tell them, I'm done. I mean, I am done. I'd rather be fired because of, I'm not going to remove those shoes. But everybody's holding you down, waiting for you. Because now the whole agency is just like, don't make us lose this account. Don't make us lose this account. The amount of feelings I remember I had at that particular moment, I don't think I've ever... people say they experience anger, but I think there's levels of anger.
Yes, there's one that consumes.
Yeah, there's that one for... The toy has dropped something on your carpet which is white, and you go like, you want to jump and realize, I can manage this. But then there's that one that comes that you feel like, I really do not have control of this now.
Like now, the anger is bigger than me.
Yes.
Yani, yes.
And
I'm in it. It's not in me.
I'm furious. But because of everybody's lives over here who are waiting for my next few words, I could either destroy this account for them. That means if we lose this account, we are all going home, after this. We don't really have anything to say. Client will be furious because I talked very much shit in front of them. And you're holding it in, trying to put that smile on you. And you can't imagine that. You can see faces of people who have not slept because of wanting to deliver this and make it happen. And the approval process is, again, it's never, you always feel like it's not set on stone. Just because I said, yes, I approved this, I needed to see the real thing so that I can say, yeah, this is what we wanted. I couldn't think and say, no, I don't feel this works. I saw it on doodles and everything, and you're like, oh my God, because not everybody can interpret a creative concept when it's detached. People, if we're in that process of seeing an advert for that, for example, that one for Safaricom, the singing one, the choir, and I'm here doodling about on top of people's heads in the forest. I'm doodling of people spreading their hands out and everything. You'll be confused. What are you trying to achieve, Mike? Huh? But you'll flow with it because you think these guys have been hired because they understand this creative concept. Until the day you see it, then you go like, I wish you saw their faces more so that you can see, the impression. Maybe they are faking it. Because you see on top when you're doing with the drone doesn't make him. Then you go like, oh God, why did you not talk about it when you saw it on the doodles? Do you know how much it will take for us to go back there? Anyway, we ended up talking to her and tried to tell her, I don't think the consumers in Kenya will be able to see them. Like, no, any woman here. And when she says any woman here, she's expecting backup because she's a client.
And guys will back her.
Yeah, guys will back her. Your accounts manager will be the first person going like, yeah. Even me, in my wedding, I had shoes in the car which were flat. And you're like, woman, I was with you. This ad, yeah? And Charles, you would not believe when you have to go back and try to zoom in the client so that you can hide the shoes, the heels, because now you can't do anything. And when you're sitting down and watching that TV advert, day in, day out, you are kept on reminded about what you felt then and what you had to do so that you can satisfy other people's interests. So it's like a daily reminder. Everybody's saying, hey, man, that ad is nice. Eh?
But you are, they have no,
ooh.
Yes. And
that's... It's not a good place to be. I won't lie to you. It's not.
So you've been there. Okay. The other thing I wanted. So you have the art director, and then you have the creative director. Who is sort of in charge of, and then on. So they're bosses, basically.
So they are the ones who go about winning whichever account they're managing. So a business tells you, and that's, you might think the art director already has pressure. Now the creative director is on another level.
It doesn't get easier the higher you get.
Oh Lord.
You almost don't want to get
I keep telling people that when you see a creative director sometimes, as much as you want to be where they are, it's not only challenging, it's very lonely.
Wow.
It's very, very lonely.
Yeah.
You will never, as a creative director, you accept one thing. You are never going to understand the feeling of satisfaction for your work. Because nobody will expect you to be. And immediately you start becoming satisfied with your work, that's when now you start feeling as if you're being pushed out of your position. Because a creative director is meant to be using the accounts manager to keep on badging the client for more work. And more work, it's not just tusaidia na kazi. More work is, we thought that ad we did was very nice, but we also have a direction from our creative director. Can we set a meeting so that we can come and take you through? So while client is feeling like I'm giving you work, creative director is like trying to think of how do I create more revenue for the business.
Okay.
While at the same time accepting what's already coming from the client. At the same time, client and the agency are looking for you to win awards. At the same time, you have to manage the output of your art directors. So if you make a mistake of getting a lazy or a ndula art director, you're doomed.
But that's on you.
You need to be smarter than your copywriter, and those guys are sharp. You have to put that face like you are better than them, and you always have to outsmart them. They will think of jingles but you have no idea where you'll get the wisdom or the skill, but you have to acquire it from somewhere. Your art director needs to feel like you are the ish, but you have to hire the ones that you feel are better than you. Because when they are coming to you, they are looking for somebody who will
inspirational
and correct me and guide me.
So technically, you need to be.
You are basically running the business,
But
the account.
also, you need to have a larger than life presence.
Yes, you are like walking on God mode. You have no friends in the agency. You are like the Ruku. If you ever played games, you are like the guy who's waiting now to take down the bad guy. The bosses above you look at you as the business. There's a new account that's in the town. Would like you to come and have a meeting with them. That time you're also looking at the deadlines. We keep on saying, we used to make fun, I remember, with a guy called Robert, and saying, every time we go for meetings as with creative directors, you'll feel like they are hobos, because they don't really care what you think about them. So there'll be the guys with the very wacky t-shirts. They never seem to have and if you tell them to wear a jacket, it will be on top of a jeans and some very worn out sneakers.
I've met someone who fits that
profile. They're like, no, dude, I have so many things. You do not have an idea. And when you get to a creative director position, the world has exposed you in so many ways to present your articulation of your thoughts. Because if you don't know that, you're not in the right position. So you could sit with anybody. You could have a very serious conversation with a top banker, James Mwangi, and he'll find your conversation relevant, because every single day you have to feed your mind to what's going on, what might be, technology here, technology there, while at the same time you have all these suckers behind you within your agency. You are very, very lonely. If a creative director would want to have a conversation with his Uber guy to the airport, but at the same time, he's busy trying to scroll to find out what's happening on Twitter, what's trending, he's trying to absorb so much. And that absorption denies you, if you don't know how to balance it, a normal life.
I almost can't see how that's possible. It's like you have to sacrifice
yourself a lot.
I think so. I think
your kids surprise you with your birthdays, even your birthdays, because you're consumed in this world that you have adapted and have to manage. Because by the time you're done with the DTP, you're looking forward to be the art director. The art director bashes you left and right, and somehow you come out where the agency feels like you're the guy that we can depend on to take us to the next step. You win that client, you win those multiple clients, you have to impress them constantly. While outside here, everybody expects you to share your thinking, your knowledge. The world is always demanding. Nobody's ever giving. Everybody's demanding. You get home, you're tired, you're engrossed with how do I respond to that email from that banking meeting. I remember we were doing the I-rates, and it was new to me completely, and we had to respond within a very short period of time. So I had to go and understand what is an I-rate, banking terminologies and all those kind of stuff. And I remember, I think it was my anniversary. But because I didn't even remember. Actually, it came to me that it was our anniversary when I was engrossed in, because I've just come from a very heated briefing session Guys are flown in from wherever they were coming from, and here you are being fed, and then the agency now is depending on you. Think about this. Let's talk tomorrow. Let's try to deliberate what it is. And you know very well, everybody will be coming to see how you steer this thing. So your copywriter is already texting you, you know, this thing, I didn't get it. Did you understand it? So you have to wear that heart of like, no, it's like this, it's like that. Yet you're also trying to absorb because it's new. And then you end up home and wife is there expecting this, you know, this whole me, which has been left in a boardroom, trying to look at those numbers and acronyms and everything that's just been fed into me. And it wasn't a really nice feeling, Charles.
It was an avatar. You had the person who was there was an avatar, not you.
It was, yeah, it was like, it was zombie mode. I was on autopilot. And I could feel from her, you know, she was disappointed in the fact that she was expecting something more than this. I mean, and normally I'm a very okay person. But this is an exposure for that particular period that just came. And it wasn't just once, it was multiple days, you know, birthdays, special days, even just normal days in the house, you know. She made us nice candle dinner and everything. And you come in and you're like, you're not there. Because you're carrying so much. You're the guy who never attends any home functions because this agency has told you, bro, everybody's gunning to expect from you. And by that time, you know, you don't have, the only close friends you have, not actually friends, are just people that you meet in the office, and you have to be friendly with them because you share, you want to get their thinking, and by the way, remember that meaning, what do you think we should do with it, you know? Try to deliberate, and you're always downing because that's the time you feel like, now I can let go. So you'll find it's in the office. If it's not in the office, it's somewhere again where you're trying to manage your clients. So that project, you're always carrying something about work with you. And then that bit of the industry as a creative, always trying to remind you that, bro, can be replaced tomorrow. Tomorrow. You don't come up with the best thing. Kesho, unaenda.
So question. Have there been instances where some of you, people you know, colleagues, have completely fallen apart? They've not been able to hold their own.
Yes. I mean, I don't want to mention names, but we've even lost people. Guys who would be the brightest people, happiest people, everybody who knows me knows a very close friend of mine. Very, 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 very close friend of mine. I think I have to say even the bit of being where I am, he had a lot of influence in it as we came out from the art directors, you know. He was, how do I say it? He wasn't a catalyst, but it felt like that, you know, because he kind of, with the path he went through, he didn't cloud it, like he allowed us to follow through, you know. And you will be like, yo guys, this is where, you know. We did some fantastic projects with him. But the time I was called and told that, you know, this is what happened, all I remember hitting me was all those moments that we had a chance to talk about it but couldn't because we had this pressure that we had to manage called work.
Did you guys ever, like, it always felt like imbalance. There was a sense of imbalance which you felt you needed to address, but you feel like you never got right.
And you'll always imagine, you'll always want to feel like, you know, it will come out as if you're trying to bitch.
And you can't bitch.
Yeah, you meant to be any pressure to your industry. Easy job lazima zitoke. There's a guy I remember, he was at the brink of just losing it completely because he had to pay for a full campaign of rolled out billboards across the country that he had done an error on. He had to go for a loan so that he can actually compensate that. I don't know if he ever finished, but you want to be able to say that I understand or I relate, but it's not possible. And then back home, I mean, you're all different people. There's a wife who'll be understanding. The wife will just move on. But there's the one who'll keep on demanding. And it never, I never remember the agency even spending anything to try to get, psychologists to talk to us or invest in, can we try to address an issue that we feel this industry is being affected with? Because it wasn't once or twice that we've lost very good minds in this industry.
So now that you're speaking to that, I'm just curious, is there even an acknowledgement that the way the industry is set up and the way it runs is contributing to that crisis, or is there some sort of denial which makes the victim of that
whole, well, let's look at,
so it pushes the responsibility back to you, and when you break or something happens, it's as if this guy is the one who couldn't hack.
Yeah, it's like that, by the way, because there's no other way to go about it. There'll never be, oh, Aki, I like this artwork, but could you please? No, there'll never be that. There'll never be, I know, but okay, if you guys are feeling like it's the time frame is kidogo, we'll just wait.
Who created that? Is that pressure? Who has created that setup? Is it the pressure from?
Chain.
It's the whole chain.
It's the
right?
whole chain.
And it's a tradition that's been handed down,
and
like
yes,
generation.
And anybody who's in, and clients go to agencies because they want the ish, they want the best. They don't want to deal with those guys in Tao, in River Road. They know who can still push some creative output. No, they want people who understand that this is serious things. I won't come and tell you, hey, madam, ni 5 tumefunga ofisi hapa Kirinyaga road akukuangi safe. They don't want that stuff. They want you to hear, wait, you're cracking this or not.
So here's a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there is a serious crisis in the mental health crisis in the industry?
And the sadly part is that it's people are aware but yes, not addressing it.
How do you have any idea as to how they can start addressing this?
Well, Charles, I think the process of how to go about making sure that people have a way to talk about, I don't think it's something new. Not just in agency, but basically, like I'm sure there is other professions that have even more pressure, maybe even than agencies. I would know, like athletes, because they always have to push themselves into, all manners. I mean, I've tried to run. I know I can't, but if I was told to ati endelea kidogo, ongezea kidogo, I'll tell the guy, bros, me COVID, it's not like a surgeon or a hairstylist or a makeup artist. No, it's not that people are aware that this pressure is there. Pressure comes with and you always find it's very serious, and at the point that if you can't handle pressure, you're in the wrong place, which I think is the wrong way to go about it. I don't have to be in an agency because I can handle pressure. It's never a good thing to handle pressure.
I like that.
You know,
I absolutely like that statement.
It's not that
you should not give people medals
you are a good pressure handler. You know, I don't think it's something that people have to be proud of. Me, when I walked in my CV, I was asked, "Can you handle pressure?" And I said, "Me, you've never seen a pressure handler." Even in my previous place, I was a perfect pressure handler.
You know, something interesting is, which has just occurred to me, most creatives, just by virtue of being a creative, possibly also means that you're very sensitive. It seems to be very, it's like, I don't know how, but somehow, like when you're talking about the copywriters and the process that makes you that imaginative and what also tends to make you a bit of a sensitive person. You
are totally right.
Isn't it?
Absolutely. You are talking about people who have invested to understand the feel.
Yes.
You know, it's not about, I'm not doing an advert for myself.
Yes.
I'm doing an advert because I know this one will steer the emotions of Mama Mboga. Do I understand Mama Mboga? Yes, I understand her feel. I understand how she wakes up in the morning. Kanjo has to chase her. So immediately I tell her that this product is for you. I'm not going to tell her like a banker. I'm going to tell her like I'm a child who's trying to convince her that this is a really good solution. So I'll talk in her conversation. I'll talk in her language. I'm not going to go and interview her. But trust me, when that ad comes, she's going to own it. And we didn't speak. So we have to invest in feel. You have to invest in understanding people's emotions. And you can't do that without knowing yours.
So on the one hand, you become extremely very aware, and you have this very fine understanding of emotions. But on the other hand, you're living in an environment that approaches emotions with like a blunt instrument, you know, like
taka.
Yes.
This is like so you worked on this artwork the whole night. How did you like it? In your puss.
It's okay. Yes.
In your puss. Is this the best you could come up with? That's from your creative director. Can you actually give me something that steers my emotions more? Does it even touch the brief? This is an art director. He's probably spent some few hours there in the morning, early. He's probably, wife thinks he has run out of the house because they have a new baby. He doesn't want to shika diapers. Him is trying to impress the boss because he's seeing him. This boss needs an assistant CD. And then CD just throws it out. Then kidogo text. If you wanted to not take care of the kid, you should have said something. And the guy's thinking, whoa. How am I going to match this? You know, there's all that. You know, at the end of the day, I'll always say, hire humans, work with humans. You know, don't hire humans, work with machines. You don't work with the computers you get in the agency. You work with actually the people. So immediately you put them on board. You know, you've hired, hey, okay, I want to work with this agency. Know that it's people that you're putting on board. As a client, let me start from them. And as a client, I know there's all types of pressure. Targets, you know, competitive brands trying to take over the market share, going for the next award, which also comes with its own pressures. But then there's that bit of trying to invest a little bit more in the agency that you're working with, because some of them can easily be boutique. You can look for an agency which has all the big names and everything, but you invest in them so well that even by nature they feel like they are working with you, not for you, because you're there. You know their names. You have a discussion first. You don't throw them just emails. Have a discussion. There are many emails you do through, but let them be like, ini ashiko. Ashiko wacha nifanye. Yeah. Alafu, you know, whoever the other end of the client, they will always feel like they have a dependency on these people because they understand. Because Shiko will call, probably and say, Manze, you guys, this one, my boss is on my case buyer. Why don't you do this? Why don't you come over here? We do it together here, because it will be much easier. And also escalating it even higher. If your organization decides that this is the agency that we feel has convinced us that they are capable of doing our managing and our brand or our campaign, try to also to see how much more can you invest in them. Because the more they understand your business, the more they would want to associate with it and also have creative output for it. Because you might think what you have briefed them is the best way to go about it. But these are people who are invested to always think about innovative ways to solve solutions and also to create problems. Because sometimes it goes with it. There's always what if that you'd want to imagine. All these guys are paying all this money. What if I just decide that I would want them to go deeper within my organization to see maybe even the roots of the product, I remember one product, again, sorry for not mentioning names, that when it came out, everybody thought it was a washing detergent while it was a consumable.
Oh.
But you see now you're a creative director. It's been brought to you like this. We want you to sell this. Then you're wondering, who thought of this to be a bright idea to put it in the market? The packaging is all off. And not that it doesn't work, the material. It works, but it's not going to work with the consumers locally.
Yes.
I wish they were capable of inception. Before you decide to put it inside here, talk to this agency that you're paying gazillions. Say, guys, we want to do this consumable for this market. Be like, okay. What do you guys think? Is it gonna work? Yeah. Sample. No, boss, this is not gonna work. This is. Who are you targeting again? Itakuwa stretch. But if you do one or two things, maybe it will work. Yeah. But then again, you find that because this is not working to be sold out there in the agency, the agency is trying to push angles to try to create it to work. Here, it feels like these guys are not getting it. While it doesn't mean that changing from here, this shoe to that shoe, these guys are the ones who are going to work it out. But that small bit of, before you go to the heavy production, invest. Like even a day or two. Understand these guys.
Yes.
And when you do that, you'll realize that these guys don't really to be putting so much pressure to meet these deadlines. Maybe they are not shaped like that. But whatever they gave you was so hot, so good, it still gave you the same result that you're looking for. So even the organization itself starts becoming a buffer toward the agency and even pump up some of the money that's coming through. And that reduces the pressure for also the agency having to make a creative director handle so many accounts. Because kuna malido inafikanga, you say, hey, boss, come on now.
I know.
Yeah, you know. I mean, hii account ni poa. Let me go enjoy some golf teach my toy how to shoot hoops, play some golf kidogo bana. Let me have a life, you know. Let me meet people in a social setup, kitu kama hiyo. But this one's of like, hey, manze, this target we gave you, you are so way down there. And that time the guy is handling like 6 accounts. And he's being pushed to get another one. You know, because it works that way. And it's unrealistic.
We should strive to make all these spaces human-centric. And ultimately, there is the product, which, granted, we must give out the best product. But at the end of the day, human beings shouldn't break. In the process.
You should not.
Human beings shouldn't break.
I don't see the purpose of having a doctor's consultation where you have to keep on reminding him, I am the client, I am the sick person here. If you do not deliver, if I don't get well, my friend, tomorrow you're not here. You know, it doesn't work like that. That guy will take you down 6 feet under haraka. And agencies can mess you up also. Eh?
Okay.
Agencies can easily turn the tables for non-collaborative marketing director. I've not seen. Let me not say I've seen. I've had, and it's been, you know, guys who have like figured out the art of like, you know, huyu aratusumbua.
You just pull the rag from under his feet.
Yeah.
You don't know what has hit him.
Because again, and it doesn't have to get to that point. It never has to get to that.
Because that's now just any sabotage.
That's sabotage. You know, making somebody not win awards or making somebody not look good on their bosses. Because you'll find like multiple departments. If it's like Unilever, you have multiple departments. The same agency shining with this other person. This same agency is not shining with this person. Person is put on a pedestal like, wait, shida yako nini? How come this and this is not working? Agency fires back, makes this person look like you are the broken telephone in this whole process.
And you
shida kitakuumania.
So I have an interesting question. There is, which I think we should probably have tackled at the beginning. There's something beautiful about creativity. Something which, I don't know, makes most creatives really come alive and even feel godlike when they have, like, say you're a musician, you know, you have this song and yani, just when it comes out, you feel like you've achieved something nobody else can. And I think that's usually what drives creatives. It's always that. And when they're put in a space where they can continue doing that, they just thrive. I'm sure that when you started out, that's what you wanted. That's what you wanted this thing to be like.
It is, and it's the ever seeking,
the holy grail.
The holy grail.
Where are you at on that score?
So,
how do you feel in terms of that reward? Pure creative bliss.
I think and they're different. The way I've grown in the industry is I've been known to be the digital hardware in the creative world. I embraced coding for mere frustration, by the way. It wasn't that I chose. It was like, oh man, I can't deal with these developers anymore. I'll do it myself, because I felt this web technology, the websites, the mobile apps have to be prettier, have to be sexier, have to look good. And then came to this age where there was global awards for websites. And I remember being nominated by some guys in Mexico to work with them on a Warner Bros. Production website to come up with a UX, UI. And it was the feeling you get from not just being a pen and pencil designer, but being the guy who's pushing the next phase of where creativity needs to be, you know, where communication can be simplified by visual effects. You know, I don't think people have ever put into appreciation the quickness of icons on their phones. How smart they can tell you that this is Chrome, this is Instagram, without words. You know, that feeling of like, does he know, this guy, does he know how things have been made so intelligently for them to decipher quick communication in a modern world, like not the stop sign that now is everywhere. You know, like somebody had to sit down and go like, let me put a circle and put an X in the middle, and the world shall understand this means no, no, you know. It's that's where the genius lies, because you come up with something.
It's
People have to see and they understand what you're talking about, and it's never been done before. Never. Nobody has ever done it before. That's why I crave. That's the feeling I crave. I used to love that bit of pushing
the boundaries.
Yeah, and it will always be haijafanywa Kenya. Hakuna mtu Kenya ashaifanya, you know. and I will stand with it.
Yeah.
So you always, every project, even now, there's some feelings, even though nowadays you always find you're wearing also the business hat where you're like, yeah, I'd want to really explore, but
yeah.
this is what pays the bills right now. If I just do this, and this, done, you know. But you're always finding that you're also adding some few small technologies that don't really have to cost you so much, but will add some leverage to your clients. But then there was that time where you had the space, you were given the environment. And I remember a lady, Anna Othoro, and she was in Orange, Kenya. And Victor Odada it gave me the opportunity, my former friend Koldomosh, to try to churn them, to give them the website for Orange Kenya Africa. They don't know how they made us happy. Like we were literally over and above the first global kind of brand telling us, you guys know better. Not tested by, nobody had ever tested us that if you know or not. But here you have it now. And we wanted to show those French guys, ile mlifanya. Bure kabisa. Let us show you now. We are the ish. And those guys can't even attest. What we did was adapted to the rest of the other oranges globally.
Wow.
And there was no clapping, there was no machine, but we felt it. Yes. You know, that's what mattered. We didn't care about anything else. Yes. That's what mattered. There was no write-up on the newspaper that these are the guys who did the adaptation of the new website for Global. How did it fit? No, there was nothing. That's the feeling of that. Yeah.
So, now that that's a very good example for me. What set of circumstances made that possible? I think one, you already identified the client's attitude.
Yes. An ambitious, daring, and a client who accepts that when you hire creatives, you don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
But you just have that faith of like, it can go either way, but just give him the benefit of doubt.
And what was the environment like in the agency at the time?
And that's
it also like facilitate
agency that? Was like, we don't know about this horizon because websites were new. Like, guys, let's see how far you'll take it. I remember the first time we were adapting Facebook for advertising. Clients didn't know what is this thing called Facebook. See, it is like my MySpace. Like, no, this is a new thing. You put an ad here, you have like, and you are paying for that. Yeah. It will steer emotions and make people convert. Yes. Let's see. When you have that environment where you allow creatives to be creatives without the pressures of, your targets, your deadlines, there's a magic that comes out. There is magic. I've seen it. I've actually tasted it, touched it, as in I've felt it. And you'll see guys looking forward to actually want to come to that office because they feel like, bro, we have something to prove,
So, have you experienced a work environment that has been able to do that for you? And given an opportunity, would you be able to create a space that does that for you and for your colleagues?
Oh yeah. Recently, okay, not recently, like a few years back, I've worked with the likes of Chris Madison, who's now heading Dentsu. And I remember we started off an agency which was called Smoke Signal. You can't even hear the name. We had, it was illegal that actually people paid us because of how much fun we had. I feel like we had extremely too much fun. And it reflected on our work. Like, Charles, we had fun. And it was one of the best agency environment I've ever had. I've worked with the likes of Moise in Dar City, which also was within my entrepreneurship journey and everything. That also allowed me to experience a space where think, let's do. Whatever it is that comes in your mind is what we shall try to execute. And the bit of being proved right constantly because you're being given that environment for exploration is so
energizing.
Yeah, you feel like, oh man, you thought that one was hot. Wait until
God,
you see God's awards. And Chris and other few people. I mean, Jimmy Garrett. They allowed that bit. They understood that because I think they also came from a creative world. Chris Madison actually came from the US. Used to be the guys who did Gilmore Girls, as a brand, and being part of the guys who were producing it. And not only Gilmore Girls, there was Ali McBeal. He knew how to create an environment for creatives, because you can imagine an office where the ground floor is all pool tables, darts, nothing serious, couches, PlayStations, and everything, and you can start your morning there. You'll find somebody running away from home just to be there. It's a chill environment. The cook is cooking some fantastic meals constantly. She's always cooking. And then upstairs is where you find guys working, but it doesn't feel like a work environment. It feels like a chilled work environment. It feels like you're working from home. We knew work from home before work from home was introduced to us, yeah? But then again, it allowed us to work with like some sense of brotherhood. Like, we didn't want to fail each other. We didn't want to fail our clients. We knew how hard it is to get our clients. And we embraced our clients' issues. And we invested heavily with our clients' projects and understanding their business. Just because by the point of introduction, the engagement was different. We're not here to try to hit your targets for your business. We are here just to make sure that you have creative output that stands the test of time. We're giving you the jig moment that ends up being, or the Omo moment that ends up being the name for all the detergents. That's what you're looking for, yeah?
Yes.
And funny enough, there are clients who bought that. Used to call it the agency bullshit, but there are clients who bought it. And they can attest, it never...
You didn't let them down.
Okay. And down the line, I found myself seeking that feeling through different employments until the point where I had to set up my own agency. And yeah, I know the journey's just started, but I know very well that there are guys who have that fire in them, but can't imagine themselves being in a place where the pressure is overwhelming. They are stuck somewhere in an agency that they don't like. They have opt to be freelancers because they don't want to be in that space. They have not taken up the career because they're like, I had that and I needed this. I want to imagine that I'm telling those guys, give me time. Let me work on this, what do you call it, Olympia city, that I imagine that will be the future cradle for creativity. a few of me have already pursued that journey. Creative people who have already set up. I'm just among them. I've just started my journey. My arc shall be full soon, and within that same space is where I hope also I will have not ambitious, but more like daring clients who are willing to step up and say, you know what, we want to have the next hottest thing. Whether it's a solution, whether it's a campaign, whether it's a brand build-up or brand whatever, I will create an environment that makes them feel like they're not tossing their money in the dark, right? But they're more like trying to fish in a pool. They've seen potential of getting something out of it.
That's really amazing. Firstly, for me, I think what I like about that is that it's not in the abstract. It is something that's already ongoing, and I think it's also not. It's being built on hard-earned lessons, tough lessons.
Trust me.
So I sort of feel like you're going to fight very, very hard to be true to that vision, because otherwise there would be no point at all in coming this far and then monkeying things up again.
Absolutely. It will be a complete waste of many years. Very true.
The other thing, and I think we need to bring this to a close. I'm not sure how much juice we still have on our gadgets there, but yeah. So the other thing I thought is many of us. It's not just with creatives. It's not men. It's that many of us are still very leery when it comes to talking about mental health, and particularly if we are facing mental health challenges. But sometimes you don't even need to get to that point where you're facing mental health as a challenge.
That's true.
As in, it is just needs to be a conversation that everybody has and everybody appreciates. And that way, we can embed well-being systems and structures and in everything we do, even at workplaces. But one of the things I was wondering about is it possible to begin to talk to creatives about seeking help? You might not be able to talk openly in agency space or in an agency environment because of the risk of looking like you're a wimp or you're preaching.
Yeah.
But that said, it still doesn't stop you from just acknowledging when you're under stress or you're distressed and maybe you can't jikwamua, so to speak. Mazasema tu niko pabaya. Let me seek help. I think it's a conversation that should be...
Yeah, because, the next thing is either that or the bottle.
Or the bottle. And I think there's a lot of... I know it's not just... Many people have just resorted to the bottle as a cure-all for all their distress.
And then you can imagine also the creative world is not only just from the bottle, but there's also other many exposures. Remember, it's a world where you have to be exposed to the world.
Wow, yes.
And that comes with both the negative and the positive stuff. So I've seen guys go into that rabbit hole. Some have come out damaged, injured. Some are still there. But it's as you said, it's easy to say and I'm speaking for myself, for a creative to understand that this is not normal. You need to seek help. But in an environment that keeps reminding you day in, day out that, you can't be a boxer who's claiming that I have injuries because of sparring.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, that's a very good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So these hits I'm getting, it's part and parcel of who I need to be. I think that bit of that sense of understanding is the one that people need to embrace, that it's not normal.
So it would probably need for the people who can, the paradigm shift should start at the very top.
Yes.
It should be structural changes.
If I was a client, I would want to imagine that the people that I'm working with are actually happy. Not actually happy. I've been taken care of by the organizations as part of the benchmarking. Like, okay, give me an understanding what is going on in there, because I want to embody you guys to come to my side.
Yes.
I don't want to imagine I'm getting some very frustrated, smiling people to come and manage my very happy brand. So tell me about your sanitization within your organization. Perhaps
the challenge there is that marketing itself, the way marketing works, I'm not speaking as an expert. I'm winging it here, and if I'm wrong, I'd be happy to be corrected. But marketing itself, even from the client end, imposes incredible pressure on the marketing staff,
on the advertisers, the agencies,
yes,
and also
in terms of the sales, the targets, putting your image out there, the training to be a marketer sometimes is completely blind to the human side of things.
Yes, because of the demanding aspects about the industry and the profession. Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
So in which case it means that there has to be sensitization right from the schools.
It could start as early as that, in all honesty.
It's India.
Because it's never that serious, you know. You end up having a breakdown when you're about to launch that campaign. You're replaced tomorrow by somebody else. And then move on, like you never existed. Even the places I was important when I was a creative director, they are going on, bro. They are. They don't even know I was there. They've not even called us for. She sent me those files that you guys used to work for. Oh, but I slept there and those nights with those brands. You know, it's never that serious.
I'm sorry. I mean, it's funny,
but it's true. You wake up, you blood eye shot and everything. You're thinking, if this thing doesn't go through, this thing, you go to Hosi or you decide I'm quitting tomorrow.
You campaigned last a month, 2, 3. It's forgotten.
Even it goes on TV when you're not even there. Nobody even remembers you're the one who did it. There's nobody. You move on with your pressures and everything. You are the marketing director who's been pushing for this thing to roll out. Something happens to you that you have to leave that project going on. You go home or you're fired. Yeah. The agency continues without you. So that pressure that you thought was really the thing that had to make things happen. Yeah. Down the line, it's just that bit of. And I understand we have to be competitive, Charles. And we always have to wear that hat of a business attitude of do more, achieve more, you know. But there's a fine line of
we have to do it as human beings for human beings.
And I feel like even the best projects I've ever done is those ones of the client was so chilled out. They didn't have those pressures. And you feel very okay giving them the best that you can. And you'll find that those kind of clients don't really push you to deliver. And you always find yourself being very happy.
Good.
Yeah, when you actually work on their projects and you do it. And I have to say, actually, even one of them I have to mention him. Like, I have a client called Ronald Kiri. Is one of the most sober people I've ever come across, you know. Articulate, no pressures. He understands when there's Easter. He understands when there's your kid's birthday. He knows it's important for his business, yes. But he also knows that you're also human. Like, it's those ones of like, oh, okay, if there is a location for time, you could actually see this. And you'll find yourself, even after cutting the cakes and everything, you will find that time to actually sit down aside and say, you know what, I really do want to work on this. And you'll feel he would be 50 missed calls. You're cutting him, happy birthday. You're wondering, this client say tomorrow, you know. you feel like, oh Lord, this is too much pressure. No, there are humans out there, and they've been able to achieve absolutely amazing things. But as you said earlier, there is a major disconnect in the whole value chain of discussing about mental health. And mental health, I think, sio enda wazimu. It's just that instability of being able to do, from my point of view in the creative industry, being able to do what you're really good, or you can really do well with a very strenuous environment. And because there's multiple parties who are piling up pressures in different levels or different facets, that if they all understood that this thing exists, not only just the creatives, you know, because even the creatives can create anxiety to the marketers. Creatives can create anxiety to the account managers, because I can't go home. I know I can't touch that computer to design it, but I'm depending on these buggers over here to do their work so that I can deliver to the client. So I'm here anxious. I'm being called for this function or this thing at home. I need to go to the Hosi before they close the hours for the Hosi visits, but I can't leave office before immediately I step out like this. These buggers are going to run home. And when they get home, they start telling me, huku kwetu hakunanga internet. Ama hapa vi blackout limeingia saa hii. Gari imegonga pole ya stima ikaanguka. Transformer is out. So there's that bit of, before you onboard an agency, before you onboard that creative, have that discussion of, you know, we all understand there's a likelihood that this can build up emotional anxiety, leading to mental stress, and it's not healthy for this environment, and we can't work like this. Understand the person's way of deciphering information. Creatives have different ways. Just because they all know Illustrator and Adobe does not make them be able to interpret communication the same way. Know the person's weaknesses. Try to nurture a way to be able to talk and pinpoint things that they feel need correction, without putting the aspect of like, manze HR has like a pile up of you guys over there aspect, without necessarily saying it. You know, like embrace that person within your institution in all capacities. Get them involved in the day-to-day. So even by the time you start knowing, okay, if this account goes, what does that mean for the business? Okay, what do I need to do to make sure that never happens, instead of the threat aspect? Kikiomana, hata wewe, you know, to try to make sure that you're not bringing in a human to be a computer, or a robot. It's trying to understand that it's a human being that the client is actually investing in.
I came across an interesting word which these days I throw around quite a bit. It's called "do not instrumentalize human beings."
Exactly. Well done. Yes. Oh yes. It's so true.
Yeah.
And I've seen this breaking so many young, talented people out there, that the point of where you see them not coming out. Like there's guys who I believe, given the chance, will be able to do some amazing stuff to put even the creative industry in this country on the map properly. if allowed to showcase their talents, by those big institutions, if they only allowed them to feel more welcomed, or create an environment that allowed them to be experimental with their thinking. Because there's also now that bit of where nowadays you only hire based on what the client expects. You don't hire based on what the client doesn't expect. Well,
and so what happens is it purely depends on the extent of the client's knowledge.
Yes,
which is
exactly. And there are creatives out there. You could have imagined somebody who walked in and said, you know what, I have a way to make a computer write for me copy. And this is maybe the guys who have just ventured into creating AIs. I have a technology where now you can withdraw money with, from air. You just tap and the equity sends money. You never know. There was the M-Pesa creatives who probably, if they were allowed to nurture their creativity aspect within a particular organization, would have maybe even gone past M-Pesa. Maybe M-Pesa is not his limit. We might think that brain Italy meisha kazi, but those brains have, if they can figure out that, maybe there's more that in stock, that somebody just needs to create that environment to nurture it.
Okay, so thank you so much, Mike. I think we've covered some very, very significant issues relating to mental health. What I like most about the conversation we've had today is that in many ways, if somebody really listens in, you have been able to paint a very clear picture of what being in the creative space, especially in advertising, looks like. You have been able, at least for me, to identify the skill sets and the talents and the capacities that people need to operate within that space, but also how those need to be managed so that you get the best out of people. But in this conversation, we've also highlighted the constraints and the issues that create toxicity, at least within those workspaces, that ends up in subpar delivery, but also potentially that are risky for mental well-being.
Yes.
And without even necessarily us being very, listing on a bullet point the mental health issues in no, I think we have teased all these things out very, very nicely, and I really, really appreciate this conversation. I think that there is a lot of scope for intervention in the creative sector. One of the things I would just want to leave the audience with is to consider that sometimes, whereas some of these issues are at the macro level, they're bigger than you, definitely. They're structural, they're systemic, they've been there for years. Some of these challenges persist for generations. The thing is, if someone is able to raise their own level of self-awareness and just begin to know how much they can do and what can hurt them, and begin to understand, hey, these are my limitations. If I'm working in this space, I will not thrive. Then that way you begin to take a bit of control over your life. Yes. And you make certain decisions and draw certain boundaries, and you know how much to push, how far to go, and even seek spaces where you can thrive and avoid those ones that are just going to play and hurt you. Yeah. I think it's not all, like there is a level of control you can assume for yourself and help build up your mental well-being. So once again, thank you very, very much. I think we've covered all the aspects. I suspect that there are a few other things I would have wanted to discuss, but I'm being cognizant of time.
Okay.
So with those very, very many remarks, I would just like to remind our viewers that we have been talking to Mike Wambua, who calls himself a storyteller. He is definitely one. that is without a doubt. And we have been talking about mental health in the advertising industry. Maybe let's call it creative stroke advertising industry. And at Me, I Am Mental, what we try to do is have more such conversations, normalize mental health discussions, so that we try to make people's days a little better, a little warmer, people a little happier. And that would be our contribution. So, Mike, thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much as well.
And I think with those few remarks, my name is Charles Adede. And until next time, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.